Hello friends, welcome back to a new episode of the Road to Rank 1. Today is a very special one as everyone I play in this episode was born after the year 2000. Master Vasha is 23-year-old, Spats is 20, and Iba, the player that I'm playing currently, is a mere 14 years old. So it's the youngsters versus the good old veteran in today's Road to Rank 1. Alright friends, here we go. First opponent is going to be Iba, the, I think now 13 or 14-year-old Grandmaster. The youngest Grandmaster to have ever lived in StarCraft 2, at least that I'm aware of. I think he got it at 12 years and something like 220 days. Slightly quicker than Raynor got it. So definitely someone with a lot of talent. Also, well, a lot of talent, a lot of hard work, honestly. StarCraft is... Yes, there's a little bit of talent involved, and I think some people, they improve a little bit quicker. But most of the time, the people that rise the quickest through the ranks are just the people that end up playing the most. I feel like that is the, you know, the biggest causal link that I see between getting better. You know, just playing a lot of games, getting better. There's a very strong causal link there. Now, what else was I gonna say? Right. Right now, I think he's at 6k MMR, which is already significantly higher than Grandmaster again. So continues to really just gain a lot of skill. Now, the funny thing is, whenever you talk to these youngsters, I have the same sometimes when I talk with Baby Marine, and sometimes even when I talk with Max Packs, they feel like they're improving very slow, which is really funny whenever I talk with Max Packs. He's like, oh, Harstem, I'm hard stuck again. I just can't get better. I'm like, well, mate, you're rank 7 on the, you know, on the world ranking on Aligalog right now. It's like there's really, there's not that much room to grow anymore. And if you see the process, you know, the progress over the years, I think it's very clear that you are still making progress. Perhaps not at the speed that, you know, you're not going from gold to platinum in 5 days or a week anymore, but you know, you're still going freaking fast, and perhaps that's what we should be focusing on here. Like, you're still, you know, starting to get better and better results all the time. I feel like it's the same when I talk with some of these young up-and-comers. You know, it's like, oh, I'm hard stuck at 5.8, and then 3 months later they're hard stuck at 5.9. It's like, well, that just means that you did gain 100 MMR in like a month and a half, which is much better than I've been averaging over the past few years, over the past decade, really. So, yeah, these kids, they improve quite quickly. For them, it feels very slow. Of course, they have a shorter life as well, so 3 months is going to feel way more impactful for them than it feels for me. You know, a lot of stuff happens in that time. And percentage-wise, it's of course, you know, it's a way larger part. But anyway, enough about that. Let's talk a little bit about this game. So I have a build order that I've been playing for quite a while that I'm very happy with. It feels safe. Economically, it's very strong as well. And it's going to be a... it's kind of a weird build. A really fast third base. It's kind of inspired by the Greediest Man Alive. Actually, this build is kind of what inspired the Greediest Man Alive in a way. And then you go into... You know, you still follow up with a pretty standard setup. With oracles. Oh, don't get any kills here, but that's okay. I'm not really looking for kills necessarily. I would like to get some kills, don't get me wrong. If I could get them, that would be great. But if I can't get them, I'm also pretty much okay with that. Now, I'm going to be warping in two more adepts, and then make my way across the map with these two. So these are going to be going here, because I know he's coming out right now. He's going to try and do something useful with his life, but I'm going to stop that. And then he's going to be out of position completely, most likely. This is very common for Zerg players, you know, when they get a little bit aggressive with their dudes, they get out of position with their links, you know. That's indeed what ends up happening here. Hop. Now we just move into this area. We get a couple more kills over here. And don't forget that behind this, we're still just macroing up as well. So we're getting pretty decent, you know, pretty decent damage in. And I probably do want to scout at some point. I didn't quite see what my opponent is doing. Didn't see a Roach Warren here though, did I? Did not see a Roach Warren, at least not that I'm aware of. Gonna get double gases as well over here. Oh, well, there's definitely a Roach Warren. Oh, I did see a Roach Warren. Surely it ain't here then. I was like, well, that's not entirely how it works usually, but there's definitely going to be a Roach Warren. I'm just gonna cancel these two buildings because there's really no point in getting those out. And I just want to really go pretty ham with my oracles ASAP. it's very important that I get some damage in. I'm just going to continue building more and more oracles. That also is kind of the beauty here of my build order, is that I do have a lot of oracles. And I want to get... I probably should have cancelled some stuff here. I honestly should have. So I didn't use all of my oracles at the same time, which is important. It's very important, actually. Okay, now I can use these at least, and all at the... Well, not exactly the same time, but at a similar time. I still have a cannon going up in the far back as well. My opponent is now moving forward. And I want to kill more links. That's always going to be important, of course. Just gonna move these back a tiny tad. Come on, get 4 stalkers as well. So, despite me absolutely not scouting and not really doing anything to deal with this particular threat, I still think I'm going to be quite fine here. That's a good freaking... what do you call it? A good bunch of biles over there, but I think it's too late already. Because I have extra backup pylons. I'm still building... Am I still building oracles? I'm not really, honestly. But I think it's going to just be fine. I think this is going to be just fine. I still have a lot of stalkers on my low ground, which is somewhat important. I don't think any of these oracles are shooting anymore. Yeah, what a sloppy game by me. Rotorn must have been in the main. Yeah, I completely missed that when... So one of the moves that I make when shading in is I'm just looking for stuff. I saw the second gas being very fast. That's why I was like, okay, that is kind of odd. You know, the fact that this gas is mining already. But it's kind of rare to see 2 gas Rochal-ins these days. It's way more common to see, well, 3 gas stuff. So I saw only 2 gases, but I didn't see the Rotorn. So I thought, maybe... He just doesn't understand how his race works. It didn't make a whole lot of sense, actually, in retrospect. But I was like, I remember saying at some point, like, there's no Rotor, and there's also no Lair. There's no Evo Chamber. He really had nothing. So I'm just up 20 workers. And if I realize that here, I cancel my Twilight, add 2 more gateways, continue Oracle production. But the beauty of opening with a lot of Oracles is that if there's not a lot of creep, and there's no Lair to put any Overlord poop here, is that you actually are in a relatively good spot. And that's what I was. I could just continue my Oracle production, and I was just completely fine. Spreading creep is really difficult as well if you're constantly under pressure with Adepts and Oracles, so I did a good enough job. And I scouted it somewhat in time as well. I still believe I should have cancelled my Twilight Council the moment I saw this. I think I was a little bit slow on that, as well as cancelling my assimilators and cannon, battery, backup pylon immediately, new pylon here in front, because as long as the queens aren't here to help out, my oracles absolutely reign supreme, right? I had a lot of energy left on them, so he can just push, and he needs to wait for the oracles or for the queens to show up, and at that point all my static defense is already done and the game should pretty much be over. So yeah, we take out the youngster over here and take some of his points as well. It's going to stall the progress. 5-8, 27. We get 8 points. Our 6-4, 33. And let's hop into our next game. Next opponent here is going to be Master Vasha, a Terran player that I'm well familiar with. And well, we could... How do we open here? I think we're just going to open up with a cheeky little Phoenix build order. Phoenix is by far my most comfortable opener. The opener I think I'm best with. Now, there are some issues that I have with Phoenix openers. Mainly the fact that you kind of take a backseat to the game very often. So you are in like fake control, basically, is what I always consider Phoenix openers to bring you. So you get control of the skies and you get control of the early stages of the early game until your opponent decides it's time to actually fight. When it comes to fighting, Phoenixes are okay, but they're not that useful. They don't allow you map control like Blink does, for example, where you can kind of engage the army. You usually have a standing army that can fight on the map a little bit. If you're opening up with Blink into Charge or even into Colossus, that often ends up being the case. However, with Phoenixes, really, it feels like the entire build or the entire setup is mainly to not die, and then until you get things like Charge out, until you get things that can actually help you deal damage to your opponent, once you actually have a standing army that can do something. So it plays out very often with Phoenixes, Phoenix into Colossus in particular, but even with Phoenix into Charge, I think a lot of Protoss players look at a Phoenix Charge composition and think to themselves, well, this should be, it should be very strong, but there's very specific timings you abide by. Like you don't ever really get proper map control in a way that you could if you were to play a Blink build order. So Let's just go through these different phases of the Phoenix Colossus here. It is, yeah, for me it is the most comfortable thing to play because it allows a very easy way of scouting. You don't really have to make any very special reads because all the reads are going to be right in front of you. You see, like you scout something, you see it, and that is how you make your read. Well, if you're playing a blink build order, you often need to kind of like, is it called inferring information? It's like you look at something and it's like, okay, I believe it's this. And very often, you know, you can get pretty decent reads out of that. But if the Terran is very conscious about denying scouting and keeping you on your own side of the map with your initial adapt, that can be quite hard. And that's why I think Phoenix is just, right now, I think it's the most popular opener. Usually the moment you see Hero play a defensive style, you know it's probably a wise thing to start playing it as well. Because if there's something aggressive that can be done, usually it's Hero who definitely will be trying that out, right? He's someone that absolutely loves aggression. Throughout his entire career he has loved that. So if you see Hero playing Phoenix Colossus, that's a pretty decent sign that perhaps it's, you know, you should try your hand on it as well, is what I think at least. So just gonna get a scout across the map. I want to see if a Hellion is about to pop out. I want to see if there are Hellions in the thing. I want to, you know, count the overall number of SCVs here. I only saw 2, so that probably indicates that I'm playing against a factory opener. Now I haven't seen a Hellion quite yet. This could mean that my opponent opened up with a tech lab first, okay? Now, what does a tech lab first mean? It means that we need to piss off right now with this adapt, because otherwise I'm gonna get killed by a cyclone over here, which is absolutely the last thing that I want. Oh, he's actually really keen here on killing this thing, which I think is a mistake, because you're never gonna get that. Is this indeed a cyclone first? Yeah, okay, it was a tech lab. It's gonna be a tank push here, because we see the tank pop out. There's a very big tell is that when you see the tank push out, the tank pop out, that most of the time it's going to be a tank push. Now, there's actually something really interesting here that a lot of the Korean Terrans have started doing, is they started, once they scout this particular position, they start attacking the gateway and the cyber core. It's basically free pickups, you know? So I'm going to be pretty much trying to counter that by getting a battery up there. This is something that I've seen. Ooh. We'll cancel it. Barracks are going down after all. Wait, hold that thought. What was I gonna say? What else was I gonna say? Right, you can counter that by building a thing up there, a battery up there, and then your Phoenixes have a little bit more survivability. The tank perhaps is just a defensive tool. I just realized my opponent probably just was unaware of what I was playing and got a tank for safety's sake, which is, yeah, it's not a great opener for my opponent here, that's for sure. I'm getting a lot of kills here. We see the Raven. Okay, now against the Raven, what do we actually want to do once you have this setup? People often are very confused what is proper. Now, in my mind, getting batteries in a position in both base... Oh my god. That would have been real bad if I would have actually lost that. In multiple bases is good. Some people say, hey, why don't you just fly in with the Phoenixes and snipe the Raven? It's because against good Terrans, you can't actually do that. Like, this works a lot of the time against worse Terran players, so maybe I'm gonna be capable of getting the snipe here on the Raven somewhere. You see, I'm looking for it. But the main priority should be actually to get units out that 100% will help you against the Raven. And the unit that helps the most against the Raven is going to be A, getting more Colossus, so more Chronos on Colossus, so that more interference matrices need to be used at once. 2, batteries in forward positions. And 3, sentries. And you want to build those sentries as early as possible. So I don't mind... Hold that thought. I don't actually mind cutting a Phoenix temporarily to get these units out, to get these sentries out, because you start saving up force fields way earlier that way, which is going to be a great thing. Now, something that I hadn't been doing, but that I've been doing recently, is against initial pushes, is just sending out workers. I used to always send out zealots everywhere, which, don't get me wrong, definitely has quite some value, but at the same time, it's really nice to just send workers because they're much cheaper. Yes, they're worse if a single Marine shows up and tries to get some type of map control, but it does allow you a way cheaper way of seeing where your opponent comes from. Because if every single time you lose a zealot to a concussive shell or something, it could be quite painful. So yeah, I really like this way that I'm setting this up right now. We're not seeing anything coming out of our opponent yet, which is surprising. I need to make sure that these rocks are not being killed or something. because he's just hitting extremely late for what seems to me no real apparent reason. Now, I have lost track of my opponent's army. I sent my phoenixes back home. That was a mistake. I don't think I should have done that. We'll get a cannon over here, and we're staying on 4 gases as well. I'm staying on 4 gas because I haven't seen a third base yet, and I'm starting to believe there's not going to be a third base either. So this is important to note. We're going to move forward on the map. We have enough Colossus. Oh, that's a major mistake here. Okay, that's the end of this push, I think. Because now there's going to be no way to break any position. Okay, it's going to be a... Yeah, okay, this is over. Absolutely over. In my favor as well, by the way. Where are you coming from, Chief? Come on. He's trying to set up. He's trying to set up real bad. We're getting these extra gateways. Almost got another thing there. Up. So, just going to add more and more of these batteries as well. Theoretically perfect, obviously. Something you can do is scout forward with an adept to make sure that they're not sieged up yet. If you do that properly, which I hadn't been doing, you can actually get really far with, you know, just delaying your opponent's move out. We're gonna scout forward once again, because don't forget, you're outranging your opponent with these Colossus. Okay, so here we go. We have the super battery going in right now. Phoenixes could come from the back, start lifting these bad boys. And this is such a clean win for me, right? Yeah, no GG out of Master Vasha. That's usually what happens when you completely destroy someone. It hurts them a little bit. This was a very clean game, solid responses. He's significantly lower in MMR. And this is the type of game that you want to have against people that are that much lower. Like, you really want to, you know, boom, show them once and for all that you're not to be messed with. You get the 5 points, immediately search another one. That's laddering for you, my friends. No ladder anxiety, that's not allowed. I know a lot of people, you know, are afraid to hit the ladder button. But why would you be afraid of the ladder button? It's the most beautiful thing, is measuring your skill against someone else that is usually equally matched as well. It just feels brilliant. Blizzard's always going to give you about 50% win rate. It trains your mental resilience of losing. And if you struggle with going down in MMR, what you can do is you just always play on your lowest MMR account. So you have 2 accounts. Imagine one is 6k, the other is 5.9. You just play on the 5.9k account until you hit 6k or 6k and 1 point, then you switch to the other one. You know, so you always have one high account. So you still have that kind of that ego boost. You know, that the little ego is like, oh, I'm 6k, even if your current account is 5.7 or 5.6. And then it feels good to play on that account as well, because like these are people you probably should be beating, you know, if you actually are 6k. So that's a nice little trick if you do struggle with ladder anxiety that some people use. I never needed it because I don't know. I don't know why. Just, you know, I love laddering too much. If you love something as much as I do when it comes to laddering, then can't get anxiety for it. It's just brilliant. All right, next game. We're once again up against Iba. Now we're going to play a similar opener as we did last time, just with a slightly different ending, or a different, you know, a bit of a twist in there. I think in general, one of the most important concepts at high-level StarCraft is the ability to play similar openers to different endings. Now, people are very familiar with this when it comes to Zerg, because everything from Zerg tends to look very similar. You know, their initial setup is the same, yet they have a large kind of like, you know, the decision tree out there. You know, they can throw down a Rotor, they can get that Evo chamber, all of these things. You know, where there's different responses out of that initial thing, which is why a lot of people tend to struggle scouting against Zerg, because it doesn't seem as straightforward as scouting against Terran or Protoss, where I feel like the tells tend to be a bit more obvious in a way, like certain units exclude others in a way more direct sense, because of how Protoss and Terran production works, right? If a Terran player throws down 3 factories, you know they're not going to be playing bio, because a factory, you know, it's just not, you can build bio units from factories. But if you see a Zerg player throw down a Rotorn, that doesn't mean that it can be Mura. If you see a Zerg player throw down a Hydra, then that doesn't mean it can't be Mura. You need to really see the units that get produced rather than seeing the structures that get produced. The structures are definitely very informative initially, and they can help you, you know, they can get you some type of information. But after that, it's mainly the things that you see that are being produced is much more important. Now, with Protoss, with the current build that I'm playing, the one that I was talking about earlier, the very fast third base, It's very important that you have many different follow-ups as well, because Protoss is a race that requires a surprise. It needs to surprise the opponent, especially in the Protoss versus Zerg matchup. I think in the Protoss versus Terran matchup, that also kind of holds true to a certain extent. It holds true for both races in that matchup, I think, to a certain extent. But in the Protoss versus Zerg matchup, Zerg doesn't really need to surprise the TOS so much. I think Zerg can be very okay with just sitting back, relaxing, and absorbing the hits of the Protoss player. While the Protoss, you know, we have to get out there and pull some tricks every now and again. Yeah, it's completely okay. I'm fine with this. You know, this is why I signed up for this race. I'm a tricky man. Wanted to be a magician when I grew up. Then I realized I couldn't do any magic, so that life path quickly closed itself on me. Third base goes down really quickly. Now, funnily enough, this third base is actually safer to link floods designed to take out my third base, because the third base is going to have more HP. So speed is going to finish up soon for my opponent, but by the time he hits the other side of the map, despite no Oracle being quite out yet, I'm going to be extremely safe against this. The hardest thing to hold with this is perhaps a straight up link flood, which, you know, could be very difficult for me to deal with. But it's also really not that bad. I think people underestimate the defensive properties of this particular build order because it looks so different from anything they've seen before. This is a build that my friend Fighting Frog created, the framework at least, of the first 3.5 minutes, which in my opinion is the hardest thing to do. Oh, I already messed up what I wanted to do. I want to play a single Oracle build. Okay, we're just gonna rush into a fast Twilight Council instead. That's also fun. Nothing wrong with that, my friends. Nothing wrong with a good old Twilight Council. That's what I said. Okay. You can start mining now. We warp in a second one of these. It's important for me to... Oh. Yes, 2 more of these. So 2 little... what you call them? Gateways being added in. And in the moment our Twilight finishes up, we can start chronoing that thing like our life depends on it. But for now, 2 Stalkers. Okay, well, it's actually done. I shouldn't have chrono boosted my workers. I kind of do regret that. Okay, chrono boosted now. Now, if you see someone doing a real nice job like Iba was doing here, then you can always just go in like this. 2 different sides. I know most of you are not great at splitting up units in general, but this is something you can do. You know, it's definitely something you can do. Gonna keep these at home. Just gonna go for a weird little push out is what this looks like, but it's really quite powerful. So our main goal here is to force out some initial units. I wanna, what you call it? One of these over here. And perhaps also clear an Overlord or 2. So if you can clear Overlords now, that could definitely help with the follow-up push, which is of course still coming. And also initially link counts are pretty easy for me to deal with, so that's nice as well. I'm just gonna send a probe out on the map. So my opponent now thinks that I'm probably not continuing this push. It's like a fake push of sorts. But it's not really quite accurate. And we're gonna get a fort base as well behind this. Okay, here we go. Oh, up on his horse. Ooh, this actually is kind of scary. Wait, where did my other adept go? It's making its way across the map. It's not entirely what I wanted, but whatever. Okay, we do have Blink available now, which is actually going to help. We start +1. We're gonna start to charge the moment we're pretty much allowed to get it. Start a fort base here. It does feel to be the case. Feel like that's going to be the case indeed. Yeah, this base is gone. I hope my opponent has a different fort base as well, otherwise it's going to be in some serious trouble here. Yeah, you can't defend this, Iba. It's simply not possible, my dear friend. I know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna get a couple more Stalkers and then start charge. Now, the main goal is to get these upgrades pretty much finished at the same time, as well as about 10 gateways. And then get a full wall in this area. And we have gateways over here. Just gonna move my attention to the other side just a tiny tad. I'm afraid of him going in this general spot as well. It does feel scary. Oh, this definitely feels scary. I wonder if I need to recall here. Yeah, I think I just will. Recalling is relatively cheap It's gonna lose me a couple of units, but I can live with that as always. He built a crap ton of links because he thought that was going to be the correct call. There was a world in which that was the correct call, but I think he should have stopped building links unless he wanted to go kill my third base. Now that he didn't kill my third base, I actually think my opponent's in a world of trouble here. So there is a fourth here. Oh, this is bad. This is real stupid as well. Okay, it doesn't have anything really here. So all I had to do right now is not be out on the map until +1 finished up for me. Yeah, +1 still hasn't actually finished up. This was a really sloppy play. There's no real excuse for this except me just being balls at the game every now and again. I'm gonna get a robotics facility as well so I can start dropping. I thought I already built... Yeah, I lost one oracle. Thought I already built a Templar Archives, but I guess I hadn't. And then we can, from here on out, we can play a very common style, which is like Archon with a bunch of disruptors. This style has grown a lot in popularity as of late because it's quite powerful. So we have this Zealot run by. That's going to move towards the far left side. We have double upgrades going up as well. Probably want one of these in here too. I wonder if I want a 5th base at any point or if I just do not care about that. We are severely supply blocked here, by the way. Just gonna get a couple of Templars in. Hello, I said, how long does this supply block last? Holy crap, dude. Oh, another second? Yeah, why not? I mean, I was playing Hydra Bane. I actually kind of like that. We're gonna play this particular composition and ooh, I wasn't paying attention and immediately bit me in the bum, that's for sure. Don't think you can actually fight this, brother. Don't think you can actually fight that yet. I'm just gonna get a 5th base over here as well. And then I'm gonna keep kind of a, you know, keep it up on that side with my Romans. Where did my observer go? I know I built it somewhere. There we go. Okay. Gonna get a bunch of these dudes. Okay, it's gonna walk straight into my yep, exactly how I expected this to go. Into my thing, to my stasis ward. This is a slightly more chaotic game than the previous ones. It's really important in life in general. Oh, this is a nice move because I'm completely locked in there. It's going to cost me quite a few workers. I enjoyed that move. That was good. Well done by Iba. Very well done by Iba indeed. So just gonna keep an eye on this side of the map. Is he still just going straight around? Seems like a mistake, huh? Whatever. Oh, actually. Gonna get a very solid surround. Seems like I'm dead at the moment, except for the fact that I'm owning over here. But everything else feels really bad for me, honestly. This is his 4th base, don't forget. Just gonna send these over here to my opponent's other base. Gonna see if I can get some damage on these dudes. I hope I'm not... Oh my god, teleporting to my 3rd. It's the one base I didn't actually want to teleport to, but whatever. I think I'm losing this. This is when I stop playing these very low gas styles. Yeah. It's also a tricky map, of course, but that's not a good excuse as to why I lost. I just mainly lost because of the Baneling run by that hit me. Felt like I was doing so well in the early game, but not well enough. We get a loss. Now, this is painful because this immediately loses you like 45 points or so. Especially after that early game, that shouldn't be the case. I was really far ahead. Just got a bit too greedy, I think, there. Being out on the map the way I was, not having any defense in the middle part. Altitude is a tricky map for that. The way that the walls tend to work on this map, but yeah, this is very sloppy. Let's hit another one. So I'm not going to end on a big loss like that. That's ridiculous. I want to fight. I want to take some of my 41 points back. All right, up next is Spazi. Spatz, our German Protoss player. I think he's German at least. It's a very German name, Spatz. We'll take him out with a... Actually, I played him yesterday. I had a fantastic experience against him. I'm really starting to get a hang of this whole PvP thing. I've been practicing it a lot. My results have been improving in the matchup as well. I can't wait to lose 35 points to Spatz. No, I'm actually quite a big fan currently of the Sentry Stalker openers, or just Stalker into Sentry stuff. Just play it really safe. I used to be very afraid of Oracle openers. I still am very afraid of Oracle openers, but I'm just scared of them in like a more normal way. You know, it's like I look at an Oracle opener and think to myself, ooh, that could be dangerous for me. But also, I think I'll be fine. So back in the day, I was like, he has 2 Oracles, might as well leave the game. But now it's like, well, you know, I feel like I understand where my opportunities are a lot better. At least I think I understand it a lot better. Watch me die against a proxy Stargate here. That would actually be fantastic. Are we going to make any wild reads here out of seeing gas mining and stuff like that? It's mining very little gas. Has a pylon aimed at the low ground in the wrong position. You can just build a battery here, but whatever. I'm not going to flame you. I think he's trying to proxy me. No, he's not. Builds the pylon in the main. Okay, we're going to be absolutely safe here. I took a little bit too much damage on this probe. This probe is going to show... Oh, crap, I've got His probe is going to show up in 3, 2, 1. Yep, there we go. So both of us now just... He has slightly more cash than I do. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm not a man that needs a whole lot of cash. You know, I have simple needs, but once those are met, the cash is useless to me, my friend. The cash is useless. Oh, he's actually chasing me like some prick. I don't really like that very much. He's moving to the low ground. And we're gonna get a... we're gonna do the same thing, obviously. Build a pylon on the high. See that? 3rd pylon on the high ground. I guess because he believes that he has the... Doesn't need it, but... yeah. Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see about that, buddy. We'll see about that. Yeah, we're gonna build a pylon over here, because it's a good location for a pylon. And build a 229. What do you have here, Chief? Adapt. Always difficult now to do. Never so sure what's the correct move here. We're just going to get this Nexus down. Chrono boost this once. We have a second Stalker on the way, which is going to be, well, hopefully somewhat useful. And then we get a Twilight Council over here. Hello? Oops. Actually slightly out of position. If you were to shade him right now, I could be in some trouble. Where are you? Hello? Hello, Monsieur Spatz? Where are you? We have a surprise for... Okay, well, we're gonna wait until that thing finishes up, surely. What are you doing, Chief? Like, actually, what are you doing? Oh, it's 4. I need to build a pylon here. Doesn't look like it's going to be Stargate, though. Oh, he's just... Ooh. Now, we have a bit of a dilemma on our hands at this moment. Because it's going to be 8 adepts. So I can't take my natural for quite a bit. Okay, this is just a effect of reality. Now, there's 2 things we can do. We can build mass stalkers on the low ground, which I think is what we're going to start with. Just going to shade to the high, then we block that off again. Now we just get 2 adepts down here. So we're going to be stuck here for quite a while, I think, in this situation, and we hope we can deal some damage with this. We get 1 free little adept if we target correctly, at least that is. Oh, he just recalled? This guy is gonna die. Of course he recalled, because he just realized he has to, you know, also go home to defend. That's actually interesting. So he didn't really do any damage quite yet. I'm still afraid of potentially DTs coming behind this. That is something that is, I think, reasonable to be afraid of as well. Just gonna send all of these out on the map. Oh, he's gonna send this home. So he's definitely trying to find me. I don't think that's quite working out yet, though, is it, brother? Zip. You're gonna go out here. Is he getting an extra base yet, or what is this? Yeah, come on, finish it up. I would have loved to see you finish it up, Chief. Is he researching? Oh, this was bad. This was bad. And I'm also uber supply blocked, which also freaking sucks. We have blink, though, which is the opposite of sucking. We lost what? 3 workers in our main. It's not great, it's not awful. As long as DTs don't come in and kill me, then I think I should be fine, actually. This sucks, because I don't actually want to lose these guys. I think I might end up losing 1. Yeah, I really didn't want to lose that, though. because that's going to make my life so much harder. Okay, we have this one observer here. I'm just gonna move across the map now. I don't quite understand what my opponent sees in his 8 adept opener, but I don't think he can hold this third. I could be wrong. I've been wrong in the past. I'm gonna be wrong again in the future. Okay, we're warping in. Is this good for me? Oh, messed that up. I actually kind of messed that up. I have no clue if I'm winning or if this was good or if this was bad. Hello? How about we continue attacking rather than letting this guy get 12 more kills? Might have been a good move. Okay, well, this end part was definitely quite bad. I also didn't macro very well behind all of this. Freaking 8 adept openers, man. These dudes really have some future, I guess. I could have also just... The thing is that I could have literally gone into DTs and just straight up won the game because he played extremely unsafe with all of this, but I didn't do that, so then, you know, I can't really claim credits for that either. It's not really how it works. Like, I could have won, but I didn't because, you know, I didn't go for a Dark Shrine. I'll go for a Dark Shrine now, and I want a 4th cast with that. Now, one of the things that's cool about a Dark Shrine is that if you get a drop with it, I think that's generally a really good move. And a good way to stop drops is doing something like this. We're just gonna start moving out. Wait, what's that? He definitely has something sneaky prepared over here, doesn't he? Is that a pylon that's down there? I mean, I'm not gonna move my entire army, but I'm just gonna move a part of my army. Holy crap, that's huge. What? How did this guy get 500 stalkers out? What? Does he not have a 3rd base? Are these fake? They're just not thrown up at all, maybe. I mean, it's technically possible, right? What? How did I get destroyed this hard? Was I really that far behind from the early game? Oh, he was on 40 workers. He literally built no more workers. So I'm down 4 workers here. For no... I guess the supply block really hurt me, huh? What am I doing here? 29 to 27, so I'm up in workers. 31 to 30. 32 to 33. Here he recalls, we take this thing out. Yeah, the fact that my adepts never got in actually kind of sucked, honestly. Then losing that one adept also actually really sucked. This supply block definitely really sucked. And then the fact that these adepts got in and killed like 4 workers, also wasn't brilliant. His 3rd base is slightly fast. I really thought I was going to be capable of killing him. Look at the difference here. 12 stalkers to 6. Didn't really have anything with it though. And he was just going straight into a 6 gate from here. Oh, okay. And then just didn't build any workers after, I guess. So just stuck to a very low worker count. 47. And then just went mass stalker. While I was getting Dark Shrine +1 Prism. All of that stuff. I was preparing for something else. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So it ends up being 22 to 15 stalkers. Yeah, it's not a great look. And then 4 stalkers were out of position as well. It's definitely not a great look. Well, you live, you learn. It's probably one of the harder openers anyway against 6-7 adept. But yeah, well, that's going to be it for me today. What a sad way to end. 2 good games to start with. 2 pretty mediocre games to end with. I hope you all enjoyed it nonetheless. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And I'll see all of you next time for a new episode of, I think, tomorrow's Cheesiest Man Alive. All right. Thank you and bye-bye.